week, we talk more about Microsoft's upcoming Switch and PS5 games, Sony continues to embrace the PC market, and more. So let's just go ahead, together, as a people of course, and take it out! And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike and I'm back to talk about the gaming news. And for the last couple of weeks, the Xbox has been in the news. At first, there were rumors that they were bringing some of their exclusives to other consoles, and then Microsoft confirmed that they were indeed bringing 4 games to other consoles during their Xbox podcast, but they didn't say which games. And then last week, we had rumors about what the 4 games were, and finally here today, give me a second, that whole recap exhausted me. And finally, here today, we officially know which games are coming to which consoles. Now, before I hop into what the 4 games are, I just want to clarify that Phil Spencer basically said during the Xbox podcast that they didn't want to give the games away because other people already worked on marketing material for the announcements, which is why it wasn't revealed during the podcast. I didn't cover it last week because I didn't think anything of it when I first heard it, but it makes sense because the first 2 games were actually announced during last week's Nintendo Direct. So, as rumored, Pentiment and Grounded were announced first during the Direct, with Pentiment releasing February 22nd, the day after the Direct, and Grounded releasing on April 16th. Now, even though these games were announced during the Nintendo Direct, they're also coming to the PS4 and PS5 as well. However, the other 2 games from the rumors last week are going to be PS5 exclusives. So along with Pentiment and Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush is coming to the PS5 on March 19th, and Sea of Thieves is also coming to the PS5 on April 30th. Now with these 2 being PS5 exclusives, I do find that a little weird. I feel like they probably could have got those games to run on PS4. I feel like even Hi-Fi Rush probably could have run on the Switch, but I'm not a game developer, so I'm not sure why these 2 are just PS5 exclusives. Either way, the leaks from last week are pretty much spot on as those 4 games making their way to other consoles. Sea of Thieves and Grounded makes sense since they're both multiplayer games, and releasing them on other consoles will hopefully increase the player base for those games. Meanwhile, Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment are smaller games, and they'll help them reach a new audience and kind of breathe new life into those games as well. And I bet Microsoft is hoping to emulate some of the success that Sony's had by releasing their games on PC, by releasing them on the PS4 and the PS5 and the Switch. And speaking of emulation of Sony, it looks like the PlayStation Portal may be capable of more than just streaming after all. So I've had a version of every Sony handheld, including the Portal, and the thing about them is somehow they always get exploited and then they use them to run emulators and other applications. Now I personally don't think of the Portal as more than just a streaming device, even though it is running Android under the hood and theoretically it could do more. But of course, just like the history of Sony's other handhelds that has preceded it, the PlayStation Portal has been hacked and apparently is able to run PSP games. So 2 Google engineers, after about a month of tinkering, figured out how to get the PSP emulator PPSSPP running on the PlayStation Portal. They haven't shown any video of it running a PSP game, just a picture of the Portal with Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories running on it. Now, they haven't announced any plans to release this exploit to the public, but at least now we know it's possible to run some PSP games on the device natively. I personally feel like now that this exploit was found, it'll come out to the public eventually. I mean, I've been enjoying the Portal for what it is, a remote play device for the PS5, but it would be cool to get a little bit more out of it. Just like Sony is looking to get a little bit more out of the PSVR 2. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about today in our final story. So the PSVR 2 is kind of in a weird spot due to its price. I made a video about it before it came out, basically saying that it's overpriced for a PS5 accessory, but not as a VR headset with the capabilities it has. And those of you not familiar with that price, it's $550, which is $50 more than the most expensive PS5, which you will need to play it. So even with it having really good features, it's hard to justify something that's more than the system that's required to use it. There were early reports that it failed to meet sales expectations shortly after the launch, which Sony claimed was not true, but there really hasn't been a lot of buzz about the headset since it came out. Well, last week we talked about Sony wanting to be more aggressive with their PC releases, and it looks like the PSVR 2 may be part of that new strategy, as Sony has announced that they've been testing PC compatibility for the PSVR 2 and they hope to have it out sometime this year. So I talked about this prior to launch as well. I mean, it connects to the PS5 via USB-C, so Sony would just have to put in the work to make drivers available to PC, since it's using a standard connector this time, unlike the PSVR 1. Now, I think this is going to benefit hardware sales a lot, because $550 is a lot for someone that just has a PS5, but PC VR enthusiasts have spent way more, myself included, for headsets with way less features, so making this PC compatible, they can sell way more headsets to the PC users. And then you also have the software component where they can sell those PSVR 2 games to PC users and make up for the development costs, especially because VR adoption in comparison to traditional gaming is just way lower. It's a smaller market to sell, so segmenting it and only offering the game on one platform doesn't really make much sense with where VR adoption rate is right now. Personally, I'm pretty excited about this, and I may consider picking up a PSVR 2 once PC compatibility is available. But it's time for me to get out of this virtual world and bring this video to a close. But let me know how you feel in the comments. Would you consider picking up a PSVR 2 if they added PC compatibility? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure, tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.